Hello and welcome to this NCFE provider session, CPD Digital, being safe and responsible online. My name is Charmaine Phelps and I'm a provider development officer here at NCFE. It's my role to support our centres with the planning, delivery and preparation for assessments for their digital qualifications. The objective of this session is to explore strategies for teaching the Being Safe and Responsible Online sections of the Essential Digital Skills and Digital Functional Skills qualifications. We'll start off by looking at the assessment structure, then we'll look at entry level 3, level 1, we'll look at retention and retrieval strategies, and then we'll finish with a short summary. So we'll start by looking at the assessment structure. Here we have the weightings of the Essential Digital Skills Entry Level 3 assessment. For Essential Digital Skills, the Being Safe and Responsible Online and on Digital Devices section is Content Area 1, and it actually has the lowest weighting in the assessment than compared with all of the other content areas. And you'll also notice for Essential Digital Skills that all of the marks come from the knowledge section. So that's the first part of the assessment, which for Essential Digital Skills, there are all multiple choice questions. And here we've got the same. So it's the weighting for the Digital Functional Skills Entry 3 assessment. For Digital Functional Skills, Being Safe and Responsible Online is the 5th content area and has the second lowest weighting after transacting. So transacting can be between 7.5 and 12.5%, whereas being safe and responsible can be 10% to 12.5% of the assessment in full. And with digital functional skills, you may have a few marks, between 1 and 3 marks in the skills section, as well as between 4 and 5 marks in the knowledge section. And of course, the knowledge section for digital functional skills includes short answer questions as well as multiple choice questions. And now we're turning to level 1. So again, we've got essential digital skills first. Unlike at entry 3 for Essential Digital Skills, there are 2 marks available for this content area in the tasks section. And rather than it being the absolute lowest in terms of the weighting, you'll see that digital communication is actually slightly lower. So it's the second lowest weighted content area after digital communication. And then for digital functional skills, again, we've got it as content area 5. We've got 0 marks available in the skills section here, and we've got between 6 and 7 marks available in the knowledge section. And again, if you compare the weightings of the different content areas, Being Safe and Responsible Online is the second lowest weighted after the transacting section. Now we're going to take a look at the content for entry level 3 in more detail. So what we've done here on this slide is we've put the content from this topic over this slide and the following slide. And I've put essential digital skills beside digital functional skills. Now, for many of you, you may only teach essential digital skills, or you may only teach digital functional skills, or you may be deciding between the two, or you may be delivering a combination of the two. So seeing the two of them side by side can actually be quite helpful to highlight some of the differences. So for essential digital skills, All of the content for this topic is assessed in the knowledge section, while for digital functional skills, the part that it is assessed at entry 3 in the tasks section is this part: be able to set up and use security features to access devices and online services, including strong passwords and authentication methods. So you've got the content here in full, and I've put them side by side because they are very, very similar. So for 1.1 in essential digital skills, they're looking at digital threats and implications, including viruses, malware, using unsecure Wi-Fi, phishing emails, accessing suspicious hyperlinks, identity theft, fraud, unauthorized access, compromised digital device. And in digital functional skills, 5.1 says they need to understand the need to stay safe and respect others when using the internet and communicating online. Clicking on unknown links resulting in compromised personal data, phishing emails, evolving nature of online risks, treating people online the same as you would face-to-face, respecting privacy and respecting diversity. So in essential digital skills, it's all very much, about theft and fraud, etc. Whereas digital functional skills does bring in that element of, being respectful to other people, as well as just the sort of the criminal parts of things. So 1.2 for essential digital skills. We have digital security, including website security, privacy settings, passwords, facial or fingerprint recognition, antivirus and firewalls, securing mobile devices. And that's broken down into two subject content statements. For digital functional skills, they need to know simple methods to protect personal information and privacy online, including not sharing personal information, looking for HTTPS when logging on, and as mentioned, this one being able to set up and use security features. And then for essential digital skills, they also need to know how to store personal information and data, including marketing, personalized online experience, and legal. And for digital functional skills, they need to understand the benefits of using security software to protect against online risks, including firewalls and antivirus software. And the next part for being safe and responsibility covers responsibility and well-being. So I've mapped across learning outcome 2 and 3 for essential digital skills with 5.5 for digital functional skills, even though in digital functional skills it is only well-being that is mentioned. Both learning outcome 3 and 5.5 do cover the potential physical stresses and how to minimize the effects. However, for essential digital skills, we do have very explicit, being responsible online, reporting concerns with online content, including online protection charities, police platforms, website owners. And for this particular learning outcome for essential digital skills, we don't really have an equivalent in digital functional skills. In the previous slide, it does talk about being responsible in terms of treating people online the same as you would face-to-face and respecting privacy and diversity. However, at entry 3 for digital functional skills, there's no mention of reporting concerns, so how to report concerns in the subject content. So there's one of the key differences at entry 3. Now, when it comes to teaching this, it's quite often a good idea to bring in some real life examples to bring the topic to life. And it is highly likely that you'll be able to find phishing examples from your spam mailbox. So I went fishing for some spam into my own spam mailbox, and oh, what a shame! I missed out on the opportunity to receive $13,898 in my Titan Spins casino account. I could click on here to confirm my balance, or perhaps I could draw down this $13,000. How exciting! Obviously, it went straight to spam for me. I didn't even read this until I went searching for this particular session. But I am not immune to getting spammed. So as an example, I was on Facebook, it was quite late, it was a Friday evening, and on Facebook I spotted, now this one I didn't take a screenshot, I actually wish that I had have done, didn't take a screenshot of the one I actually saw. The one I actually saw related, I live up in Newcastle, so it related to our Tyne and Wear Metro service and our pop cards. Now for this particular one, the B network, in Manchester, they have B cards, so that's their equivalent of what we have in Newcastle. We have pop cards, and pop cards, my eldest daughter uses a pop card to get on the bus. It gives her cheaper transport costs, and she's actually got a pay-as-you-go card. And the scam that I saw was offering pop cards for 3 months worth of pop cards for just £2. I was like, wow, £2, brilliant. And it was actually on the Tyne and Wear Metro Facebook page. So I searched for the Tyne and Wear Metro Facebook page. It was on there. And also when you clicked on the link, yes, I did click on the link. When I clicked on the link, because it was the opportunity to win. It's the same as here. You have a unique opportunity to win a pop card for me. And I clicked on the link, and there were these prizes, and you had to select the prize, and the first prize was not a winner. Oh, but I got another go, so that made me feel like I was special. I clicked on the second prize and I won, completely randomly, of course. So I was very pleased. I thought, great, I'm a winner. That means I can try. I can get this pop card for £2, which would be, I spend about £30 a month on my daughter's pay-as-you-go card, so that's quite a decent saving. So I clicked through, it let me click to pay for this £2, only £2. Although I was silly enough to click on it in the first place, I was sensible enough to use my credit card rather than my debit card, because you do have more protection when you use a credit card. So I clicked through with my credit card, and automatically my bank declined the amount, and it declined it, saying it was a suspected scam. So I didn't have to pay the £2. I did hear from somebody else, because I posted on a local Facebook group that this has happened to me, and watch out for it. Somebody else did click on it, and not only did it take that £2, but a few weeks later it took another amount of money, because they had her details and they could do it when she wasn't expecting. And that's the thing, because when you do enter your details into these scam phishing sort of social network offers, quite often you have to enter personal information. So I had to enter my birthday. My birthday is the 2nd of December. Which is, I'm sitting here at the moment, it's actually less than a week away. So my birthday, 2nd of December, I had to pop that in, and I thought, oh crumbs, they're gonna contact me on the 2nd of December to try and con more money from me. Perhaps they will. But anyway, your learners will likely also be able to come up with their own examples of themselves or friends who this has happened to, and it's a very good way to show the value of studying for this qualification. And you should be able to find from your own spam email box some examples of, how do you know these examples are spam or phishing emails. So in the live session, we took the opportunity to come up with our own ideas of how do you or could you teach this content in an engaging way. So by all means, you can pause this recording and do the activity for yourself, reviewing back the content on the slides, or you can go to the qualification specification, thinking about how you're going to bring this to life, given that most of it is assessed through the knowledge section, so we're not getting our learners to do very many tasks. How can we get them to retain this information by teaching and delivering it in a fun and engaging way? So you can complete the activity in your own time, and then you can come back and hit play on this recording again. And we're going to take a look at level 1. So this slide shows the content related to protecting data from the being safe and responsible sections. So we'll take a look through. So for essential digital skills, and you'll notice I've put these two, 1.1 and 1.2, on the same row as 5.2. So for essential digital skills, they need to protect devices, data and personal information from online risks and threats, including multi-factor authentication, encrypting hard drives, using a VPN, password manager application, managing cache login details, managing access and privacy settings, managing online identity, and multi-factor authentication, including biometrics, passwords, secret questions, personal identification number, PIN numbers. And for digital functional skills, very similar but worded differently. They need to understand the importance of protecting personal information and privacy online and know the methods to do so, to prevent identity theft, to protect financial information, to maintain businesses or personal reputation, to protect personal safety. Methods include private browsing, social media settings, settings on a mobile device to restrict or grant GPS location information, using a secondary email address. For essential digital skills, they need to know how to back up data locally and to the cloud. For digital functional skills, it simply states they need to know how to back up files to the cloud. And then for essential digital skills, 1.4 looks at data threats. Learners will understand the terminology and implications of digital security threats to the work environment, including worms, trojans, ransomware, and identity theft. And for digital functional skills, 5.4, very similar again. Know how to avoid exposure to malware such as worms, trojans, and ransomware, including keeping computer software updated, such as operating system and antivirus, checking before clicking links or attachments and interacting with them, checking pop-up windows that ask you to download software, and installing antivirus software. So all of the content for this topic for digital functional skills is assessed through the knowledge section, while for essential digital skills there are 2 marks available for the overall content area in the tasks section. And for responsibility and rights, again, I've mapped these two across to one another, although in truth they are actually quite different. While essential digital skills is focused on behaving responsibly and the implications of irresponsible behavior, digital functional skills focuses more on the rights of an individual to have their data protected. So, essential digital skills 2.1. Acting responsible online, including use of appropriate language, applying blocking, filtering methods, recognizing cyberbullying on digital platforms, reporting inappropriate content, respecting copyright, intellectual property rights, following company policies, following data protection legislation. Learners will understand the implications of irresponsible behavior online, including criminal offences, criminal record, removal from platforms, sanctions, breach of company policies. Whereas for digital functional skills, and if you remember from the entry 3 content, we did have about how to behave online a little bit. But at level 1, we're looking at understand key rights under data protection laws and the circumstances where you can request that personal data be rectified or deleted, including the right to see what personal data organisations hold about you, the right to request that your personal data is corrected, the right to request that your personal data is deleted, and the right to withdraw consent. And when it comes to well-being at level 1, both of the qualifications cover pretty much the same content with physical and psychological health risks. So for essential digital skills, it's broken down into 3.3 parts of 3.1, 3.2 and 3.3. In digital functional skills, we've got just this one big part here, but again, it is pretty much the same content for well-being. So physical health risks, bad posture, eye strain, headaches, repetitive strain injury. We've got psychological health risks, including stress, depression, fatigue, affected sleep patterns and addiction. And then methods to reduce physical and psychological health risks, including reporting content, ergonomic equipment, display screen equipment, assessment and screen breaks. And digital functional skills know of and know how to minimise the effects of health risks that may result from using devices in the internet, including weight gain, decline in physical fitness, poor sleep patterns. So that's similar to this. Minimising the effects, taking regular breaks, using a wrist rest with a mouse, limiting screen time through the use of an app or warning message, avoiding screen time close to bedtime, and reporting cyberbullying. Now, since the majority of this topic is assessed in the knowledge section of both qualifications in the assessments, we'll look over some strategies to help learners retain and retrieve information. Before we explore retrieval practice in more detail, we'll look at how we retain information in our minds. I've taken this diagram from Craig Barton's training on the 4 ingredients of retrieval, which is linked on this slide. Although Craig Barton is a maths teacher, the training can be applied to pretty much any other subject. So for this diagram, we've got retrieval strength on the x-axis and storage strength on the y-axis. Now, when it comes to our learners' digital knowledge, we want that digital knowledge stored strongly, it's well stored, they've got it in there, and we want it to be able to be retrieved strongly. So it's very easy to get that knowledge out whenever they want to. So that's where we want it to be in the top right quadrant by the end of their course. However, all too often, that is not the case. So we'll think about how our own memories work now. So in the bottom right, I've placed my birthday. Can you remember it? It may have seemed a bit strange earlier when I was giving you a pretty random piece of information when my birthday is. And I actually added a little animation and a bit of a graphic there with the Christmas tree to remind you it was of the month and a number. So can you remember it? Perhaps you can. If you can, well done. But the fact is, I only told it to you a few minutes ago. So perhaps it has a high retrieval strength just now because I told it to you very recently. But the storage strength, you're unlikely to store it. You won't remember it in a week, and you certainly won't remember it in a month or longer. So a low storage strength because you've got no reason to store it, but you can probably retrieve it right now. What about the last year that England won the Football World Cup? I'm sure everybody, I'm not even a big football fan, but even I know the year that England last won the World Cup. And why can I remember that? Well, probably because of the number of times that I've had to use it or heard it. So it's got a high storage strength. And I can retrieve it. Yes, it's 1966. I can tell it you straight away. It's not in my notes. So the retrieval strength is also high because anytime there's ever a World Cup, we always hear that date. So and I'm sure perhaps it's been on a general knowledge quiz at some point. But yeah, so it's got high storage strength due to the number of times probably we've heard it, and high retrieval strength. And then there are other facts that have a high storage strength yet seem unable to retrieve the information. For example, yeah, what's the name of that actor? He was in Nativity. He was in The Office. He also played Dr. Watson in Sherlock Holmes when Benedict Cumberbatch was Sherlock Holmes. But what is his name? Um, I would like to think that you know who I mean. Perhaps you know this actor's name. You can probably see their face. I can certainly see his face. But for some reason, the actual name of that actor completely slips my mind. So high storage strength, I just can't retrieve it at all. I just can't dredge his name out of my memory. And then down in the bottom left, we've got facts that have a low retrieval and storage strength. So perhaps a hotel room that I stayed at in 2020. At the time, I would definitely have remembered that room number. I would have remembered it every day for a week. But now it's not in my memory at all. And if you think about your own memory, it can give you a clue about how learners may find certain digital knowledge that they mastered during the week of your delivery, but have completely forgotten by the time it comes to an exam. So think about the way that you can get your learners to store the knowledge well and be able to retrieve it. Now, you may be familiar with this diagram. It shows the forgetting curve. It was first developed around 1885 by a bloke called Hermann Ebbinghaus. In an extremely limited study, he was the only subject of the study, and given the limitations of this study of himself, it is very easy to question the exact shape of the curves in the exact period of time before forgetting occurs. But if you think about it, so when we first learn something, okay, then we've got very good memory retention, but over time we just forget. But if we review it again, then perhaps our memory retention it hasn't lapsed all the way down to the bottom. It's only lapsed this far. So when we review it again, then we can retain. We're able to retrieve that information and retain it well. And this time, over time, we don't forget as much. And again, if we review it again, we don't forget as quickly. And if we can manage to review it a fourth time, then it's possible that we may retain this information forever. Who knows? So we don't really know the exact curve or slope of these curves, but certainly you'll know from your own experience, if you do your own little study of one, of your own memory, that and actually of that of your learners, the initial curve and the lessening gradient of subsequent curves does seem to make sense. That memory is reduced over time and that memory can be improved by reviewing the learning again at a later date, which in theory reduces the gradient of the curve so that it takes longer to forget new learning after repeated spaced reviews of the learning. Now, factors that influence the forgetting curve are the difficulty of the new learning, the relevance, how it's represented, and other physiological factors such as stress and sleep. Now, when it comes to how new information is represented, many people can rely on mnemonics. So mnemonics are, when you sort of take the first letter of something, or just different ways that you can remember. So, for example, they might take the form of acronyms, such as Richard of York gave battle in vain for the colours of the rainbow. Or little sayings like cherry pie is delicious, apple pies are too, as a way to remember the formulas for the circumference and area of a circle. There might be rhymes, songs, visual representations, or kinesthetic mnemonics such as the days in a month, remembered using knuckles. For those who remembered my birthday, maybe it was because I added a little picture to make it more memorable. So do pay attention to how you first represent what you want your learners to remember. We've got some information here. So benefits of using security software, and learners do need to be able to list and know these. What are the benefits? Monitors network traffic, stops malicious software access in the computer, helps protect against unauthorized access, prevents malware attacks and detects attacks by checking all files before opening, and removes potential virus malware. Right, how are we going to remember that? Perhaps one way could be to create a little mnemonic, MSMR, for monitors, stops malicious software, protects against unauthorized access, prevents malware attacks, and removes potential virus and malware. So potentially that'll work. Again, you can ask your learners to come up with their own. Certainly something that you create yourself is often more memorable. There may be other ways of remembering these pieces of information. So again, this is an activity for you to try. Please do think about the methods that you have used or that you could use with your learners to help them remember content for this particular topic area. And by all means, pause the recording, complete the activity, and then come back. And we're going to think about retrieval practice. It's really important to make time for retrieval practice, the practice of retrieving that information. So testing for learning. Tests have metacognitive benefits in terms of identifying whether information has or has not been understood and or learned. So tests are not just useful as a formative assessment tool, they are also useful as a learning tool. Spacing, following on from the forgetting curve, results indicate that compression of learning into a too short period is likely to produce misleadingly high levels of immediate mastery that will not survive the passage of substantial periods of time. So reviewing learning after ever increasing gaps can help with retention and retrieval. Interleaving. If working out how to schedule delivery so that topics are interleaved seems onerous, another way of using interleaving that has been proven to be effective is interleaving questions. Using interleaving questions in low stakes tests means learners are continuously having to retrieve strategies that they've previously covered, which is helpful to them as a learning strategy and also helpful for you to assess the topics that have possibly not been understood when you first covered them, or that have had too long a gap for your learners to remember. They've already reached the bottom of that first forgetting curve. Ways of building retrieval practice into your delivery when you're pushed for time includes using starters, homework, and making connections to new learning. And as an example of a starter, I invite you to play this short word wall. You can scan the QR code on your phone, or you can go to word wall and you can enter in the link that is there, the numbers, to play this game. So it's a short flashback 5 word wall starter. And what's good about WordWall as well, so if you do go to it and have a little play, see if you can get all 5 questions correct. It's multiple choice questions, and when you first access it, it will just access as a quiz, but there are different templates, so you can change the template. So using the same 5 questions, I could set the test in 2 weeks, for example, and change the format, change the template of those 5 questions. So it looks different, but the questions themselves are actually the same. And then see how learners do after I've given them a little bit of time to try to forget what they learned. So yeah, WordWall is it's free to register. You can create your own quizzes there. That's just one of many online resources. And in the live session, we took a bit of time to discuss and share favourite retrieval strategies, be they online tools or things that have worked in the classroom. And we also had the opportunity to create our own word wall starters, this time for level 1. So by all means, pause this recording and have a go for yourself. Go to Wordwall, log in, create your own level 1 flashback 5 aimed at level 1 assessing this content. So in summary, well, before we look at the summary, you may want to think about what your key takeaway, what's the most useful thing that you've taken away from this session. You can reflect for yourself. So in summary, being safe and responsible online is mainly assessed through the knowledge section. It's one of the lowest weighted content areas across both qualifications and both levels. Mnemonics can help with remembering information, and retrieval practice can be brought into delivery using starters, homeworks, and low stakes testing. If you have any questions, by all means, you can contact me. I'll give you my email address on the final slide. You'll find everything related to the digital qualifications on the delivery support pages for each qualification. So you've got the Essential Digital Skills Delivery Support page and the Digital Functional Skills Delivery Support page. From these pages, you'll find the online sample assessments. You'll also find lower down any training and events we've got coming up, our Teach, Share, Transform Best Practice Network. There's useful things like the pre-release files and guidance for digital functional skills. There is also a quick link there now to any upcoming dates, assessment date changes, when there's a change to the 6 working day turnaround for digital functional skills results. To find both of these delivery support pages, you simply go to the qualifications drop down, and from the qualifications drop down you'll see delivery support, and from there you can select either essential digital skills or digital functional skills. And on this final slide you've got key contacts. So my email address is here. Patricia also supports, we both support with maths and English, and Patricia also supports with digital qualifications. You also, if you've got any queries regarding the portal or SERPOS, please contact customer support. For our skills assessment tools, so Skills Builder, then you can contact our skills assessment team using this number and email. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found this session useful. And I hope you enjoy whatever it is that you're going to do for the rest of your day. Thank you.